Consider a purely geometric question. Is it possible to continuously shrink a solid, two-dimensional disk entirely onto its outer boundary ring without tearing or breaking the material? The answer is no. If you force every interior point toward the edge, the continuity eventually breaks. Mathematics formally restricts this action through a concept known as a retraction. Now, shift to a purely algebraic question. How do we know with absolute certainty that every complex polynomial has at least one root? These appear entirely unrelated. One explores the physical deformation of a shape, while the other deals with the abstract behavior of an equation. By examining the absolute limits of continuous mappings in topology, we can definitively prove both the Brouwer fixed-point theorem and the fundamental theorem of algebra using the exact same structural constraint. While point-set topology allows us to define continuity and compactness, those tools alone cannot distinguish a disk from its boundary in the way necessary for these proofs. To prove these spaces are truly different, we must move beyond the properties of individual points to the properties of paths and loops. We see this transition in standard texts like James Munkres Topology. In Part 2, the curriculum shifts into algebraic topology, introducing the fundamental group, the toolset required for the proofs in sections 55 and 56. Algebraic topology operates on a specific premise. We use continuous mappings to construct algebraic invariants. These invariants act as rigid algebraic signatures that describe the flexible spatial structure of an object. Sections 55 and 56 deploy this method to answer questions that general topology lacks the vocabulary to solve alone. The foundational rules governing open sets and continuity established early on provide the exact mechanics we will now use to expose a deep algebraic truth. To understand the constraint linking geometry and algebra, we first set up a basic topological rule. Let A be a subset of a larger space X. We define a continuous retraction as a map from the entire space X onto the subset A, with a strict condition. The map must leave every point already inside A exactly where it is. Intuitively, a retraction flattens or collapses an entire space onto a specific subregion, while holding that subregion completely immobile. This brings us to the no retraction theorem. It states explicitly there is no continuous retraction from the solid disk D2 onto its boundary ring S1. Proving this relies on the fundamental group. While every loop on the solid disk can shrink to a single point, meaning it has a trivial group, a loop around the boundary cannot, because it encircles a hole. A continuous retraction would require an impossible algebraic mapping from the non-trivial group of the circle into the trivial group of the disk. The no retraction theorem establishes a structural limit. It is impossible to continuously collapse a solid object onto its own hollow shell. We apply this law immediately to the Brouwer fixed-point theorem. This theorem dictates that every continuous map from the solid disk to itself has at least one fixed point. We prove this by contradiction. We assume a continuous map exists where f of x is strictly never equal to x for any point anywhere on the disk. Look at this disk. Because our assumption forces x and f of x to always be distinct, we define a line. We draw a ray from f of x straight through x, extending outward. We define where it strikes the boundary as r of x. Let's test the retraction condition on this new map. What happens if we apply this specific rule to an input x that is already sitting on the boundary ring? Because the ray originates inside the disk and must pass directly through x to reach the edge, the point where that hits the boundary is simply x itself. The output r of x equals the input x. We have just constructed a continuous retraction from the solid disk D2 onto the boundary ring S1. This directly violates the no retraction theorem. Our initial assumption is impossible, proving that a fixed point must exist. We now carry this exact topological limit into algebra to address the fundamental theorem of algebra. The theorem states that every non-constant polynomial with complex coefficients has at least one complex root. We deploy the exact same contradiction tactic. We assume our polynomial p of z has 0 roots. Mathematically, this means P of z never equals 0 anywhere on the entire complex plane. Because the polynomial never hits 0, we can safely divide by its magnitude without breaking the rules of division. We construct a new mapping. F of z equals P of z divided by the absolute value of P of z. This function takes any coordinate on the complex plane and projects the output directly onto the unit circle, S1. By assuming the polynomial lacks roots, we have built a continuous map from the entire complex plane directly onto a simple, hollow ring. Let's analyze the behavior of this map. In this model, the left plane shows a massive input circle with radius r, and the right plane shows our output on the unit circle, S1. For an incredibly large radius r, the highest power term in the equation, z to the n, completely dominates the polynomial's behavior. Consequently, as the input traces the massive circle exactly 1 time, the output map wraps around the unit circle exactly n times. Now we apply continuous deformation. We gradually shrink the radius r down towards 0. Because we assumed the polynomial never equals 0, the shrinking process is completely continuous. There are no sudden tears, jumps, or asymptotes to break the mapping. Here is the paradox. When the radius reaches 0, the input is a single stationary point. The output must therefore be a single point. This implies our multi-wrapped loop has continuously contracted down to nothing. This is topologically illegal. You cannot continuously shrink a loop that wraps around a hole without breaking the loop or passing through the hole itself. The loop's strict inability to shrink confirms our initial assumption was false. The mapping breaks because the polynomial must pass through 0. It must have a root. First, continuous maps are strictly bound by absolute topological invariance. You cannot retract a space in a way that breaks its fundamental group. Second, in geometry, this unbreakable topological law forces physical intersections. It is the underlying engine that guarantees the Brouwer fixed point. Third, in abstract algebra, this exact same restriction dictates mapping behavior. It forces a complex polynomial to intersect 0, mathematically guaranteeing a root. Topology defines the formal rules for how mathematical spaces interact. These rules demonstrate that the exact same constraints governing the deformation of a geometric disk also dictate the existence of roots in a complex polynomial. Studying rigorous foundational texts like James Munkres Topology allows us to uncover these deep cross-disciplinary mathematical links. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more clear, rigorous explanations derived directly from standard academic texts, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and keep exploring the math.